I think when it comes to the most important part of Alien Isolation for the audience is, everybody's wanted to have Alien and horror survival brought together for a very, very long time, and it was always something that's going to be difficult to do. And there's a reason why people haven't done it before, because it's incredibly hard. One of the reasons why we want people like yourself and people who come and see and talk to us about the game to see it and play it hands-on right from the outset is that it is a good game. It's an amazing experience. The alien is incredible in it, and part of the suspense, part of the drama of going on this journey with Amanda Ripley is that you're going into the unknown, and so a lot of things we're really looking forward to the player figuring things out themselves through a certain degree of trial and error, through a certain degree of kind of necessity driving a certain degree of invention from the player.
It's interesting because one of our main aims has been to deliver a real meaningful alien experience, and what we mean by that is you will not be machine gunning down aliens en masse. As we, that's kind of what we've found in previous Alien games, and we want, your instinct when you see the alien is to hide and stay safe and protect yourself and escape. And during our early external tests, we actually gave the player a gun, about 30 seconds before they encountered the alien for the first time, and we found every single time people hid. Their instinct was to hide and not to shoot the alien, and that was interesting. It meant we knew we were delivering what we intended to deliver. I mean, the game will have crafting. There'll be stuff that you can make, weapons that you can make, and I think that this is stuff that we will talk about later in the campaign. But there's going to be some cool stuff that you can build.
Because of the environment you're in, which is a human frontier in deep space, you're going to find there are some sort of traditional manufactured firearms or different weapons available to you, but they're really not the most critical thing for you to use to survive. Really, you've got to try and use as many different aspects of the environment, your instinct to move through the world and hide and stealth, and there's so many different aspects to combine together to aid in your survival. Sort of waving guns around as they make noise, and noise can be quite bad when it comes to trying to hide from something as dangerous as the alien.
The sound is really functional in the game as well. It's we're not putting stealth UI on screen. It's the sound that you hear from the alien, has a real purpose and to help the player know, whether they've been spotted and the situation they're in, etc. We took the sound design really importantly. The guys actually went out and were recording explosions in fields and stuff like that. And the sound in this game is like 70% of the game. It's so vital.
I mean, when you're in the dark and you're hiding and your vision. One of the things that's really scary for human beings is we're daylight mammals, right? We're designed to operate in good light conditions, and we're really bad in the dark. And when one of the most basic human fears is being stripped of that ability to see things, and our sense of hearing heightens in the dark. And so it's a real challenge, but we have a very complex layering of audio. And one of the ways that works is that you want no single aspect of that audio to drown out something critical. So you have various music cues, and they're very important because they're very familiar. But also the absence of sound, the sources of sound, things that over time you learn. You really want the skill level experience for the player to be partly driven by learning to differentiate key things that are out of the ordinary, or sounds that you have learned to associate with particular things. And all of that's happening at once. And when you go into a situation where you're hiding, the most critical experience when the player gains that advantage of being hidden is they lose so many other things. If I'm hidden, I can't see out from where I'm hiding necessarily. There's a very limited view, and I can't hear anymore. So there's a great moment of one of the things we talked about a lot in the past was these very human things that people do, like there's a door and it's shut, and I hear a scratching noise on the other side of the door, and the logical part of your brain says, don't open the door. because that probably be bad. But there's another part of you that has to know what it is, and that's one of the things about hiding or using that audio layer to go. I've got to open the door sooner or later and see if the threat has passed or what I should do next. And even those small moments, and it's often the little moments of wanting to know what to do next, or to look, or to step out from something, that have the greatest tension.
Yeah, we've had some really senior VIP games industry execs here, and watching those guys jumping out of their skins as we're demoing the game has been brilliant. Really cool stuff. And actually watching you guys today, I mean, there's one guy today who nearly kicked over his TV, which was brilliant.
I suppose it's one of those things that we're constantly trying new ideas and trying new things, and we've always been very attentive to that flow of conversation between gamers and Alien fans on the internet. And one of the things that we have most strongly aimed for when developing, when we say VA, we mean V as opposed to an, is that he does feel aggressive, he does feel dangerous, he doesn't feel like he's forgiving of error margins. That drive to survive for the player is driven by a very instinctive level reaction to him. One of the reasons we're first person is that if I can see him, he can see me, and if I crouch behind something so that I can no longer be seen by him, there's a very human moment where you go, God, I really want to look again, but I know if I look, there's a bigger chance he'll see me. And that
also made everything a lot more instinctive as well. We found, you don't have to clip onto cover. You just, you instinctively crouch, and you can see, the line of sight is broken between you and the alien, and it just makes for, I don't know, a lot more of a instinctive playthrough.
I mean, one of the things that we talked a lot about very early on was that we never want you to become familiar with him. He has to maintain that sense of mystique and dangerous unpredictability. And one of the features of that is that it's as much the threat of his presence as his actual presence. So there'll often be periods where the tension seems to have lowered, but you're aware that he is dynamic, you're aware that his presence in the world is driven, or where he comes to is driven by not just your actions, but the actions of other people you may be near. And so that sort of flow of fear and tension is driven by your own actions. And that kind of sense that he hovers above everything as a potential threat, while you're dealing with all kinds of other problems along your journey.
It's going to affect how you take other situations on, how much noise you're prepared to risk making.
We're going to say a lot more about what we're doing with each of the platforms, particularly the next-gen platforms, over the coming months. It's one of the things I'm really looking forward to doing, actually, because one of the things yours as a game developer want to talk about is that you have all these different platforms, and it's very common for people to say in interviews, they're all treated equally and they're all the same, etc., etc. And one of the key things for us was that we don't have a lead platform, and one of the ways in which we want to ensure that each platform gets its strengths played to, and so we've got some great next-gen features that we're going to start rolling out and telling people about in the future, and I think they're all really good, and they kind of complement the experience. But at the same time, the core of the game, that one-on-one with the alien tension and drama, is universal across all of those platforms. We really want people to get hands-on with it. Everybody that's going to be introduced to it or showing it over the next few months as we build up to releasing the title, everybody's going to get hands-on. I think a lot of the confidence that people want to have that we're doing something cool and good is going to be from people like yourself and other journalists being able to go back and talk about how there wasn't a developer between you and the game. You actually got to play it.
I mean, that was a massive decision for us, to the first outing of this game, to actually put the controllers straight into the hands of you guys. And it was a nerve-wracking decision, but we're so confident on the experience that the game delivers that we thought it was the only decision to make. And the actual experience you get from being the one that is hunkered down behind the cover rather than watching someone else doing that is a massively different experience, and gave us results like that guy nearly kicking the telly over, and so it's paying off. So the platforms are 360, PS3, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and it will be the tail end of next year.